Hey Wonder Warriors, welcome back to class. Today we are making our beef stroganoff and we're going to do it together. So first we're going to go over the different ingredients. Make sure you have these before we get started. We're going to need our olive oil. So check that off on your list. The other thing, make sure you have measuring cups. I got these cute ones. These are for our tablespoons and teaspoons, and then our measuring cups for the larger items. We were supposed to get one medium onion. We're going to use half of it. If you want, you can cut the rest up, save it for later. We're going to talk about knife safety as well. Then you can use beef tips or stew meat, and it should be about 1 to 1.5 pounds. We're going to brown that up in a second. The recipe you have says to have sliced onions, or mushrooms, but I got these so we can slice them together, so you can kind of learn how to do that. These are going to be our noodles. If you have other kinds of noodles, that's fine. I really like the extra broad egg noodles. We can even learn later on how to make homemade noodles. But you're also going to need beef broth. So there is a way, if mom or dad wants you to use bouillon cubes, those little salty cubes, you can use those. Just make sure that you're going to have enough in your measurement. But this is what we can use. And you're going to need a little bit of flour. I got a cute little teddy bear holding mine. This used to have animal crackers in it. Perfect storage container to keep any bugs out of here and keeps it fresh. Salt and pepper to taste. That is up to you how much you want to use. Don't overdo it though. Worcestershire sauce. Can you guys say that? Worcestershire sauce. This is a brand new bottle. I really don't use this stuff that often, so I had to run out and get some. Dijon mustard. It should be in probably a little bottle. I don't have that. I don't add that. But if you like that zest, it's just a little bit that you can add. It is optional. And then some whipping, like heavy cream is what you're going to need. It says whipping cream because people can make butter out of it, whipped cream, but we're going to just use it as heavy cream. And then last but not least, you guys, in your recipe, it says 2 cloves of garlic, which you can crush up or take the easy route and get some minced garlic. It's okay to use either way, but the fresh garlic will give it a little bit better flavor. All right, so I did forget to pull out our sour cream. You need sour cream. That's why it's always important to make sure that you have all of your ingredients before you start. You're going to need a sharp knife. Be very careful. We always hold it down. We never point it up at people. That way if we fall or anything, we don't cut people. And we cut away from our bodies. So get your knife. I have a cutting board right here. And then you're going to need 2 pots and pans. So I have 1 skillet and then 1 large pan. This I'm going to start boiling the water in just a few minutes, so I'm going to fill it about 3/4 of the way. So it should come up to about here. If you look at your noodle bag, it'll tell you can measure out the water, but I use a little bit more than half, about 3/4 of the pan filled with water. If you add a little bit of salt, it makes it boil quicker, and you can even put just a smidge of oil so it doesn't overflow. All right, so I'm going to fill this up real quick. You guys can hear me. Make sure you have all of your ingredients, and we will get started. So the first thing, we're going to learn about measurements. All right, so tablespoons. These are the large ones. Tablespoon, it'll be 1 TBS. And then your teaspoons will be smaller. 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. So if you only have a teaspoon, you need to measure 3 of these to get 1 big one. All right, so we're going to get started. First thing we're going to do, let me see if I can get this over here. Hold on, guys. All right, so I got the water ready. I'm going to wait to start boiling that. So if you guys want, you can take a second and fill your water pan 3/4 full, hit pause and come back and we'll get started. So go ahead and pause, get that ready. All right, so moving on, we have our meat that we are going to brown. All right, so I brought this over so we can watch it as it cooks. I'm going to turn it on medium. You don't want it too hot. So make sure it's on medium and put your pan, your skillet on top. Let's see if I can get this a little more rotated. All right, so there we go. All right. Now what we need is 2 tablespoons. You can't see me. I gotta focus on this one. Hold on, guys. All right, I'll go over here. Can you see me? All right, 2 tablespoons of your olive oil. You can use butter or oil, but butter tends to burn. So I like to use olive oil. It has a really good flavor. In a pinch, if you need to, you can use vegetable oil, but this has a more rich and authentic flavor. So about 2 tablespoons. Put that in there. You should be on medium heat. Let me try to get this a little bit better for you guys. All right, so we got 2 tablespoons. We have our meat that we're getting ready to brown. Ooh, nice little pot. And just dump it on in there. Sometimes your meat will have one of these pads that absorbs the juices. Make sure that doesn't fall into here. I'm going to back you guys up a little bit so you can see a little better. All right, so as this is cooking, we want it to brown on all 4 sides. So you should have that in there right now. We are cooking it up. And it takes just a little bit of time. We don't want to cook it too hot or too fast. Definitely want to take our time with that. As this is starting to brown, we're going to go ahead and start cutting our mushrooms. Like I said, yours might already be sliced, but we're going to wash these first. So give me 2 seconds. These are Baby Bella crimini mushrooms. So there's different, oops, dropped one. There's different kinds of mushrooms. Definitely make sure you get them at a store. Some mushrooms are poisonous, so you don't want to just pick and eat any kind of mushrooms. So let me wash these off and we'll get started cutting them up. So if you want to take a second to wash your mushrooms, because these are picked fresh. All right. So what I do is I cut off the tip. When you hold a knife, you want to put your finger here and control the handle. This helps kind of steer it. And always be careful. Your hands are going to be wet. If you need help from a grown-up, please ask a grown-up for help. Okay, very important. Safety first. And then I like to just kind of, can you see what I'm doing? I'm on the wrong side. Let me walk around. Okay, so then you just kind of cut down. Just nice slices. And they get smaller as they cook up. Eventually you'll learn to cook or cut them a little bit quicker, but for right now, just take your time. You are able to pause the video if you need to. It's up to you how much of the stem you want to take off, but definitely take a lot of it, or the dirty part off. And we're just kind of cutting it up. We got to go through all of these, so you can do this with me. There are different types of knives. So these are serrated. See how they're jiggity-jaggedy? Those are serrated knives. There are some straight knives, serrated knives. And it's up to you which one you want to use. You'll get used to which ones work better for the different things. Serrated ones are really good for breads. All right, so don't forget you're cooking your meat. So stir that every now and then. We're gonna let that cook up. Don't stir it too much so it can finish cooking. Just take your time cutting things. Like I said, you might already have yours cut up. And you just take that bottom piece, put it in the garbage. My garbage is right there. Let me sit down so you guys can see me. There we go. Good to have you. All right, so I appreciate you guys coming to class today. We are making beef stroganoff together. We are going to wait to put the mushrooms in. We want to brown our beef first. So we're just kind of cutting those up into bite-sized pieces. And I'd love for you guys to let me know some of your favorite recipes. Maybe we can add on some more of your favorites in the future. It's always good to learn how to cook. And as we go on, we can adjust our recipes and decide what we like, what we don't like. I got a little creative with some of my recipes and ended up with some of the best food I've ever made. A lot of times families have special recipes, so always ask your grandparents or your aunts and uncles for any special family foods. Do you guys have any, you guys can put it in the comments, any favorite holiday foods? I know my family, a lot of times on holidays, we have the same foods. And it's kind of nice. You kind of start looking forward to it. So I can start smelling the browning of the ground beef. I'm going to have to stir it in a second. Just a few more mushrooms. And you can either fast forward or pause as we go. And you can re-watch this if you want to make this meal again. I am going to be uploading some recipe covers so you can make your own recipe book. So there will always be the PDF of the recipe. And it's good to save. You guys should be proud of what you're making. And I'd love to know who you're cooking for tonight. Tonight, this is just going to be me, but I am going to enjoy it. All right, so I'm going to put these aside for now. And I'm going to lift this up so you can see. It is starting to cook, starting to sizzle. Sounds delicious. And a nice medium heat. So take your time with it. It's starting to cook, guys. It's looking good. All right, so next what we want to do is our onions. We're going to want half an onion. So let me show you how to peel an onion. I'm just going to flip this over. All right. So for your onion, these can slip out of your hand. So make sure you hold on to your knife and you keep your fingers away. I like to kind of put my fingers down and away. You don't want them flat because then you can cut the tips of your fingertips. So kind of tuck your fingers in, kind of hide the tips so it's nice and safe. And just kind of saw through it. Just take this and just throw it away. Do the other side. Make sure you hold on where you're not going to cut into your fingers. Remember that pinky is behind there. Don't cut through that. If you need help from a grown-up, please ask. Then how I do it is I kind of slice down a little bit to get this started. Now you're going to peel the outer layer of the onion. So we're just kind of peeling this first, the skin, and then the first layer. It's a little bit of the onion coming with it. If you want to save the first layer, you can. I just take it off. Then we have our onion. And we're going to cut it in half. We only need about half of this. So just slice it down the middle. Like I said, I kind of really dig my fingers in to hold it still. We're going to put this away. sometimes it kind of stings your eyes. It's almost like you might cry. So it's good to, if you got swim goggles, go ahead and put some swim goggles on. I like to keep my face away from the onions because it does kind of burn your eyes. And my glasses definitely help. Then we're just going to cut it into little pieces. We're going to go one way and then the next. So we're slicing it down. Be very careful not to cut your fingers. Definitely take your time. You can pause this if you need to. And just cut little pieces. So, like we had this piece. We're just going to slice through it. Maybe about 4 or 5 times. It's okay if you have strips of it. They don't have to be the same size. So I got these that are about this big. You can leave them big if you like them big or cut them in half. I'm going to take a moment to stir my meat one more time. So you can see here it's starting to brown, starting to look delicious. And that onion does sting a little bit. So we'll just get that cut up pretty quick. And sometimes it's better to do it one piece at a time, or if you're comfortable, maybe 2 pieces. Don't do too many pieces at the same time. And it's okay to leave them a little bit chunky. And cut one little slice at a time. There we go. And I'm just going to set this aside for right now. So this is what we have. We have our onions chopped up. If you like more onions, you can finish putting the whole thing in there, or just a little bit. I prefer just about half an onion, but it is up to you guys. So we got the meat browning. If you have a clove of garlic right now, you can go ahead and separate that. A clove is kind of like a section, a piece, a chunk. So take 2 of those, and if you have a crusher, you can crush your garlic, or you can cut it up carefully. And we are learning how to cook. So this is cooking up nice. Let's get the next thing going. So go ahead and pause this if you need to. Finish cutting your onions, and then we will turn on our, well, let's wait on the noodles. We'll wait on the noodles just a little bit longer, because we got to simmer this for a little bit. All right, so this is cooking up. Just take your time. We don't need to cook it on high. Take your time, so it's going to be extra delicious. I'm starting to get hungry. Are you guys hungry? All right, so once this is done, we are going to put our brown meat in here. It's boiling, so it's really good to use a hot pad if you have one. So grab your hot pads, keep your hands safe, and I'll let you guys look at it cooking. It's just kind of sizzling away. There we go. And we'll kind of time it together. We all have different temperatures that ours might cook at, whether your meat is chunkier or thinner than mine. So when you are ready, you can cut into one piece of the meat. You can take it out and use a fork and a knife to cut to see if the middle is pretty much all brown, and that's how you know that it's done. So this is getting there. And the slower you cook it, the more tender it will be. So don't rush it if you want it to turn out really, really good. And I can't wait to see your finished project. And I can't wait to eat this. So you should have your cloves cut, or you can do what I'm doing and have the already minced, which means little tiny pieces. You can have your minced garlic or your cut 2 garlic cloves. Then we want to have our onions that are cooked, cut, and then our mushrooms that are ready to go. Right now, if you do not have an extra bowl, go ahead and grab that right now. So as your meat is finishing cooking, because we're going to use the same pan, we're going to put the meat in our bowl, and then we are going to go ahead and get our onions and our mushrooms and our garlic all ready. And it's cooking up delicious. Seems like some pieces don't want to cook down. And Ricardo, hello. All right, so it is starting to smell good. Is it smelling good where you are? So next week we are making chicken Alfredo is what we should be cooking, unless we decide on something different. I'd love to know your favorite foods, so we can get some recipes and put those into your own personal cookbook. I know my family has their own really thick cookbook. And my uncle also created a family book. So in that family book, he tells all about the people in our family and their favorite recipes. So that's something you might want to do, is have the recipe on one side, maybe a picture underneath, and a story about your family, or if it's somebody's favorite. But cooking, we definitely need to be safe. Never put flour on a fire. Never put flour on a fire, because it can explode. So definitely don't ever do that. And I know a lot of you were asking if we're going to have a dessert series. So we're going to be doing desserts. We're going to be doing pastries, cakes, and cookies. Also side dishes. So there's going to be a lot of different opportunities to learn in the cooking club. So let me know what you want to do. I will get a class put together for that and customized to what you guys want. I also want to do a club where we make like the fun stuff, where we make slime or Play-Doh, all the kinds of fun things that we can make at home. Or I also have like sewing classes. We can do some jewelry, maybe some soap making. Everything that we kind of like, I kind of want to do some old-fashioned stuff, things that they used to do in the olden days. Because I think it's amazing that, you know, just this little thing of whipping cream can make butter. You just got to shake it, and it is some of the best butter. But like I said, we're using this for something different. But there's ways to make homemade cheese, so we can do that too. All right, so this is cooking up. There's just about 2 more pieces that need to finish up. They're getting there. I got 1 piece that definitely needs to finish. But take your time, especially if you have stew meat. So I'll show you one more time. There it is, cooking up, all delicious. Those onions are kind of still bugging my eyes. All right, so that's cooking. After, it's always good to have your recipe with you. All right, so now that your meat is brown, if yours is not brown yet, that's okay. Take the time. You can pause the video and come back when your meat is completely brown. Mine is ready, so I'm going to go ahead and take it out. I have holes on the bottom of my spoon, and that can help me just take the meat out. I'm going to leave the juice inside the skillet. So we're just removing the meat, keeping it on low. You can use your hot pad to be extra safe and finish scooping the rest of the meat out. Be careful you don't drip anything on your body because this water or this juice is hot. All right, so this is what it should look like. You have your meat that we're going to set aside. We have our onions. And it's up to you if you used half of it or a whole one. I think just a half is good. And we can freeze the other half. You can chop up the other half and freeze it for another time. All right, so now we got to do this in stages. We got our onions in here. We are going to brown these until they're softened. So we got our onions cooking up. And just give it a light little stir. They're going to soften. That gives us a lot of flavor. And that'll take just a little bit of time. Is that looking good, guys? That's the thing with cooking, is just take your time. All right, I'm going to get a spoon for, I have my measuring spoon. So that is cooking up, almost ready. Probably about 1 more minute. Now, if you are cooking on the big stove, make sure you turn it off when you're done. Also, if it's an electric stove, that stays hot. It's a little different than a gas stove. So, practice safety and make sure it's off. Make sure you have the right burner. It's up to you if you use the front or the back, but just make sure it's the correct burner. Cooking this up, it's getting softer and softer. I want to let this simmer down for about 1 more minute. And then we will move on to the next portion. So it's really nice that we're timing this out, doing it together. But like I said, if you need to pause it, you can pause it. But this helps with timing. So as this is cooking, we're going to start our boiling water. So we're going to just put our boiling water at like a 6, like a medium heat. So it'll give our water a little bit of time to heat up. So my water is over here on my stove. I like to add a little bit of salt into my water because it lowers the boiling temperature. It makes it boil a little bit quicker at a lower temperature. So just a little bit, just a couple shakes. It'll also give the noodles a nice flavor. All right, so back, see, it is simmering. Looking good? Now we have our mushrooms. It's kind of a lot of mushrooms, but that's okay. I like mushrooms. And garlic. We're going to add in our garlic. Let me show you how to measure that. You can either put in your 2 cloves right now, or if you have the minced garlic, which are like little tiny pieces, little chunks. I'm going to go ahead and do just about 1 teaspoon. So that's the smaller, not the smallest, but it'll be 1 TSP. You can smell the garlic. Some families like lots of garlic, some like just a little bit. Put that in there, mix it up. It should be on medium heat. Use your hot pad if your handles get hot. All right, so as that's cooking, you guys see how it's cooking up? We're boiling the water. Water should be ready in just a few minutes. So now take your flour. And take our flour, we need 2 tablespoons. Let me double check that. Yep, 2 tablespoons. That's the larger one. And make sure it's nice and flat. And I like to put it in my hand. And then just kind of sprinkle it around so it's nice and even. Make sure it's flat so it's a perfect measurement. Sprinkle it around, stir it in. And coat the mushrooms and the onions so you can see it getting a little bit thicker. Alright, so clean as you go. We're going to close this up so I don't spill it. Now, we need 2 cups of our beef broth. And this stuff is really good for making soups. So you can open it up, or like I said, if you have bouillon cubes, you can dissolve those in hot water and make your own. Those are those salty cubes. Get your, it should say 1 cup. It's a little hard to see. If you need a grown-up to help you, we need 1 cup and then another 1 cup. We need 2 cups of this. And you just pour it in here. So we have 1. And then 2. So I do have a little bit of this left. I can make some homemade soup with this, but we don't need it right now. All right, so we're going to start letting this simmer. We're going to put our meat back in. So you can see how it's cooking. It's going to heat up. All right, so as that is simmering, we got about 20-30 minutes for this to simmer. At the end, not yet, at the end we're going to add in our sour cream. But you don't want to cook it anymore after you add in your sour cream. And the final ingredient, except the sour cream, is our Worcestershire sauce. It's kind of hard to say. We need just a little bit of this. We need 1 tablespoon. So you can wash this out or use it again. It's all going in the same recipe. So I'm going to use it again. There's no problem with that. But it's up to you. If you want to wash it, you can wash it. 1 tablespoon all the way to the top. And then dump it in there. Make sure you put the top on so it doesn't spill. Have you guys ever tried Worcestershire sauce? Oh, I said heavy cream. We don't need the heavy cream. This is for a different recipe. We have sour cream though. The heavy cream's for a different recipe. Alright, so this is cooking down. Sorry I got confused, guys. I got a lot of recipes going. Alright. Alright, so now we have our water that should be getting ready to boil. We're just going to let this simmer, which means cook at a low to medium heat. And we don't want it like boiling over, anything like that. Let's go on over to our noodles. There we go. So my stove is a little bit broken. That's why I keep it off to the side a little bit, because this side gets really hot. All right, so we have our egg noodles. This is 12 ounces. And my water is starting to boil. As long as it's starting to boil a little bit, but you definitely want to make sure it's boiling. If it's not boiling, your noodles are going to be all sticky and not taste as good. Sometimes it can make the water kind of like pasty and floury. So make sure you see some bubbles going. Put in your noodles. Make sure they're all nice and wet. Make sure they're all covered with a little extra water. Now, I have Mr. Moo. He is our timer. If you have a timer like this, what you do is you see this little piece down here. You're going to want to turn it past the number that you want and then put it on. For us, we want 10 minutes. Usually 10 minutes is good for almost all noodles. Or if you have a microwave, you can put your timer on here. Even on your phone, you can set a 10-minute timer. We're going to let this boil. So we got 10 minutes before, let me grab my colander. Some of you might call this a colander or a strainer. This lets the water out of the noodles. Got my fan going. So in 10 minutes, our noodles will be done. All right, let's go back over to our meat. Thank you guys for joining me on this cooking adventure. Made a little bit of a mess, but we'll clean that up. It's not really boiling. That's okay. We just want it slowly cooking, slowly simmering in those juices. And as this is cooking, it's getting softer and more tender. And we're going to want to do that for about 20 to 30 minutes. So let me put the measuring cups away, but before I do that, I have four. I have four. This is a quarter cup. 4 of these equals 1 big one. So this is a quarter cup. I have a 1/3 cup. You need 3 of these to equal 1 of these. Then I have a 1/2 cup. If I do 2 of these, it equals 1 of these. So if I only have the big one, I can fill it just 1/4 of the way, or half the way, or 3/4 of the way, depending on what I need. All right. The noodles are cooking. I definitely want to use my hot pads to drain the noodles, so make sure you have 2 hot pads. And sorry, my fan starts going off. This is going to be so delicious, guys. So good. as that's cooking, you're going to want to double check your noodles, stir it 1 or 2 times as they're boiling, and maybe kind of put the dirty dishes in the sink. Throw out any garbage right now. It's always nice to clean as you go, or if you want to cut up the last onion, freeze it for another meal, feel free to do that. I'm going to put my Worcestershire sauce away. We don't need any more. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator. You don't want to leave this out. And you can make vegetable soup or something like that. If you have leftovers, maybe you guys had chicken and vegetables, you can put some chicken in here, some vegetables, maybe a couple leftover noodles, and make your own kind of soup. So has anybody ever made homemade butter? It's so delicious. I'll give you extra credit points if you guys make your own butter. All you got to do is put it in like a jar and just shake it. It takes like 40 minutes, though. It takes a long time. All right, so we are simmering this down. Our noodles are cooking. Make sure you keep an eye on it. And this should simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes. So it takes maybe about an hour to make this meal. So if you are having company over, make sure you start an hour, hour and a half before you want to serve it. Get your table set as you're cooking. Clean up as you go, and that way when dinner is ready to be served, the kitchen's nice and clean, the table is set, and I think I want to add a little bit of salt and pepper. So you don't need too much. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can do the same 1, 2, 3, 4. And season to taste. People at the dinner table, if they want to add a little bit more, they can. That way everybody gets to customize it to what they like. And the last ingredient, sour cream. We don't need a lot of it. I am making beef stroganoff, restaurant quality. So this is, we have Out School, Wonder Warriors, and we have a cooking club. We also are going to have a baking club, cookie club, homemaker club, where we can do sewing or create different projects. So I'm looking forward to it, guys. All right, I'm going to check on my noodles. I want you to check on your noodles too. Just stir it a little bit. So some people like their noodles al dente, which means a little bit kind of crunchy, a little bit hard. So do you guys like your noodles soft or al dente? You know, a lot of pasta dishes over in Italy are al dente, which is kind of fancy to say. And you guys could also, if you would prefer, you can use this and put it over mashed potatoes if you'd rather do that. And I don't know, do you think it would be good over bread? Kind of like a roast beef sandwich, but different. So sometimes if we don't have all the ingredients, we can make different things from it. So this is a good base to learn. And what else do you think? Maybe some carrots in there? Do you think that might be good? It wouldn't be necessarily a beef stroganoff anymore, but it would be a whole new meal. That's what's exciting about cooking, is you can change it. You could add broccoli in here, but for the standard beef stroganoff, this is how you make it. And I like to get creative with my stuff. So we learn the basic recipes and we talk about things that we might think might make it better. What kind of dessert do you think would go good with this? Chocolate silk pie. I don't think pumpkin, well, maybe pumpkin pie. Do you think pumpkin pie would go good with this? Apple pie, cherry pie. What about lemon meringue? I know the Italian people, they like to have Italian ice, which is like almost like frozen ice. There are other countries that have different kinds of desserts. I was thinking of doing a club for meals around the world where we can do Filipino recipes. I'm Dutch, we can do some Dutch recipes. You can let me know where your family is from. We can do some African foods, Australian foods, Canadian, American. I don't know, what will we do for Americans? Make hot dogs? I think we could do better than that. All right, so I'm going to check on my noodles. We just have a few more minutes, guys. All right, so this right here, so you guys know, this is called a rapid boil. You see it here? That is a rapid boil. That's a little too hot, but like I said, my stove is a little bit broke. We don't want it going that berserko. That's a little too hot, so all you do is you turn it down a little bit. Mine only has one temperature, unless I use these burners. But there you can see it just boiling away. Sometimes you might need to add a little extra water if it boiled off too much of the wetness. All right, so we have about 4 more minutes. And I think we might need to test ours in just a minute. Yeah, it's like 8 to 10 minutes, so it's going to be hot. So I want to wait. Don't want to blow on it because it's for other people. So there you can see the steam's coming off it. You can also rinse it in cold water. Let's see, this might be done. This right now is al dente. I want it a little bit softer. I like the soft noodles. So you can test. Is it perfect, or do you want them a little bit softer? I want mine just a smidge softer. It is so close to what I want that I turned my oven off. So that's going to sit in there for 30 more seconds. But let's look at our meat. This is going to finish cooking. This is simmering down. There you go. My sister made this spoon. She decorated it. It's got acrylic on it, and she dipped it in some fancy paint. So I like using the spoon she made. There you go. We are almost done. So do you guys think cooking is difficult or easy? What do you think? Alright, so I am going to strain my noodles. All I'm going to do is maybe ask a grown-up. If you need a grown-up to do this, you don't want to spill hot water on you. But if you're going to do it, make sure you grab really tight on both sides. Use your hot pads. See how the hot pads are holding both handles? You definitely want to do both handles. And slowly, I have my colander, which is also called the strainer. I have this in my sink, and I'm going to pour it slowly. Now let it sit there to strain and drain. I still like to use my hot pads because this is still so hot. So I'm letting all the water drain out. I'm gonna pour it back in here. Woo! I got splashed by hot water. Then I'll show you. Don't fall. I'm gonna put this over here. Oh, perfect timing, guys. I'm so excited. And I still need to know what kind of dessert would you have with this delicious meal? Sometimes it's okay not to have dessert. All right, are you guys ready? Do you remember what we're missing? We're not quite done yet. So you guys might have about 10 more minutes on your cooking. So if you want to pause, come back in 10 minutes, let this simmer a little bit more. But it could be good enough now. It's up to you. But it'd be probably a little softer meat if you let it cook another 10 minutes. But I'm going to pretend that we did our 10 minutes. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to take my sour cream. You're going to find your half cup. It's hard to see. Your 1/2. 1/2. And then you fill it up. It's better to scoop. Can I show it to you guys? Yeah, it's better to scoop it in. That way you're not messing up what's in here. So take a clean spoon and get what you need. So there you go. And just kind of smooth it. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but we want to have pretty much accurate, just like that. And then we're going to dump that in here. This is what makes it nice and creamy and rich tasting. All right. Final thing we're going to do. Oops. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Just stir that in there. This is our last step. It's going to be delicious. Makes its own gravy. There we go. And I think I want to thicken mine up just a little bit. Very little, just a little bit. So I'm going to take a little bit of flour, very little, and just thicken up my sauce just a little bit. Probably should have put a spoon in here. Used it that way. We're going to thicken that up a little bit. Stir that down. Alright, now I am going to get a big spoon to take my noodles out. If you have picky eaters, you can ask if they want the noodles on the side and the meat on the other side. But the way most people eat it is they take their noodles, put it on a plate, and then I need to get a different spoon. Alright, so we don't want to use this spoon because of the holes in it. We want to get that gravy. So you just take a nice spoon, and it's got the gravy in it. There you go. You just pour it on top. And you guys just made beef stroganoff. So it'd be real good with some vegetables, maybe some carrots or broccoli, and maybe a thing of garlic toast. I'd like to know what you guys did for your sides. Even a salad would be good. Thanks so much, guys. I will see you in next week's Kids Cooking Club. Have a good week.